to the revision series, mathematics again today. I'm going to be talking about factors and factor bugs today. If you've never seen a factor bug before, I'm actually glad because I get to show you them today. And it's a way that I find is the best way to remember what a factor is. In normal language, a factor is a number that can be multiplied together to make another number. So in mathematics or whatever level you're at, you've already been using factors, whether you know what you're using or not. My very, very basic example here is 6 has the following factors: 1, 2, 3, and 6, because 1 and 6 multiplied together to make 6, and 2 times 3 multiplied together to make 6. You're also never too old for factor bugs on 36, and I still think they're the best way to represent what a factor is. I'll show you now what they are. You're never too old for a factor bug. So, factors of 24. Let's get on with it. Here's my bug. He's going to have the number that I want the factors for. Has to be a smiley face. That's of crucial importance. Worth taking the extra seconds. Bit of a square head, that one. Okay, so the way I'm drawing a factor bug is I'm always going to start with number 1. 1 is a factor of every number because 1 multiplied by the number itself are always going to be a factor. So 1 times 24 is 24. 1 and whatever the number is going to be a factor. I'm then going to be methodical down this left-hand side of the factor bug on his left legs. And I'm going to think to myself, is 2 going to be a factor? Well, I know that 24 is even, so 2 is going to be a factor. I've got to work out now what multiplies with 2 to make 24. 2 times 12. Then I'm going to just keep going through the numbers. 3 times table. 24 is in my 3 times table. 3 times 8. Then, is it any of those? Go through 4. Yep, 4 times by 6. And as soon as I get to 5, I know it's not going to be, 5 is not going to be a factor of 24 because 24 does not end in a 5 or 0. As soon as I get round to 6, I don't need to check anymore. So once I reach halfway, I don't need to check 7, I don't need to check 9, 13, or any other number. As soon as you've reached these right-hand side set of legs, you know you've done all of them. So there are my factors of 24, 1 times 24, 2 times 12, 3 times 8, and 4 times 6. If you need to do a quick short division to check whether 24 is in the 3 times table, for example, obviously do that, but we should be learning our times table so we don't need to do that, and we don't need to hold information in our head. To give you another example, factor bug for 30. Great thing about factor bugs is everyone is slightly different. It's got slightly less round, possibly more happy, and a much more bulbous head. There we go. So 1 and the number, 130, always going to be the factors. Now I'm thinking in my head, okay, go through your 2s. 2 times 15, or divide 30 by 2 and you'll get the same result. 3, yeah, 3 times 10. 4, not going to work for 4. 5 though, times 6. And again, I don't need to check anywhere beyond. Once I get to these right-hand side of legs, I go to 7, 8, 9, I know that I've already made it. It would have come up here in one of these earlier factors. So once I get around to these right-hand set of legs, I know I've done everything. I've got the factors of 30. Lots of questions, and questions we'll do later ask for the common factors for a couple of numbers. Now, you've just got to think, if you have something in common with somebody else, it's the same. So if I was to put a highlighter on, all we're doing is we're checking which numbers have we got in both lists. Well, we've got 1, and it will always be a common factor. 2 is a common factor between 24 and 30. 3 is a common factor between 24 and 30. I'm looking for others. 6 is a common factor, and that's it. So a question will typically ask you, what are the common factors of these 2 numbers? 1 is always going to be in that list because every number has a factor of 1, 2, 3, 6. That would be your answer for those. Hopefully, that's making a bit of sense. Some numbers you'll find if you did a factor bug for a number, for example, like 11, got to be smiling, head is on a little bit of a wonk. I'll notice that 1 times the number, I've got nothing else. It's not going to be in the 2 times table because it doesn't end in an even number. It's not in the 3s or the 4s or the 5s because it doesn't end in a 5 or 0. 6, 7, 8, 9. I've only got 2 factors. Same with something like 17. So if you get particularly good at factor bugs, you'll start to notice these. Any number that only has 2 factors, they are prime numbers. So prime numbers only have 2 factors. 1 will always be a factor, and the number. If they're not in any other times table, they are prime numbers. So I tell you that so that if you're good at factor bugs and you really like factor bugs and you can do them quickly, you can quickly identify a prime number by having to go through that methodical approach. Okay, here is a question you find in a Year 6 Sats paper. Tick the numbers that are common factors of both 15 and 30. First tip is don't even look at the options that you've got. You need to work it out for yourself and then find the answers afterwards. Don't get drawn in by, oh yeah, I reckon 6 might be, oh yeah, I reckon 9 might be. Do your own work independently. You know how to do it, and then find the answers afterwards. That's the true skill. Get to draw a factor bug, and a little smiley face for the marker as well. So 1 and the number, always going to be factors. 2 is not going to fit in there, but 3 is. 3 times 5. Again, 4 isn't going to be. 5 we've already got. And then once we get to 5, I know I don't need to go higher than that. I'm on the right-hand side legs. Scan through if you want 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, but it's not there. Need to do 30 as well, which fortunately we just did on the other screen. Draws a little tummy. 1 in the number, so 1 and 30. 2 and 15, 3 and 10. And there's no 4s, but 5 and 6. And then I'm just going to find all the numbers that are the same. So 1 is a common factor. 3 is a common factor. 5 is a common factor. 15 is a common factor. This is all before I've even looked at the options. I don't need to know the options. I'm going to do the maths first and find the answers afterwards. Okay, 1, it's not in the list. 3 is in the list. 5 is in the list. 15 is in the list. And that is it. Move on. 2 marks. Well done me. Next one. Slightly trickier. This says, here are 5 numbers. 2's already crossed out for you. Write each number on the correct cards. Number 2 has been written on the correct cards for you. I'm not sure how that is exactly helping you, but it is still helpful. So what I'm doing here is I'm looking at prime numbers. Here's my 4 options. Got to put these numbers somewhere. I can put them in more than one box. Prime numbers will go there. Factors of 12, factors of 15. So again, don't worry too much about what your options are. I've not taken much notice in those. 1 and 12. 2 and 6. 3 and 4. Once we get to 4, we know we're done. So let's see what of these numbers can I put in my factors of 12 box. Right, well 2's already in there. 3 can go in there. 4 can go in there. And 6 can go in there. But I've done that all from my own learning. Next, a factor bug for 15. Very, very strange. Probably the strangest one today. 1 and 15. 3 and 5. Just having another check. It's not going to be in the 2s, not in the 4s. We've already got the 5s. 6, 7s. That's it. There's my 4 factors for 15. I'm going to look back to my list. 3 is in my list, so I'm going to write that one down. 5 is in my list. And then I can check again and see which one of these are going to be prime numbers. So actually, I need to do some more quick factor bugs. Very quick. Here's my factor bug for 3. Small number, so there's not going to be very many factors. 1 and 3. 2's not in there. It's got 2 factors, so it is prime. 4. You might not even need to draw a factor bug for this. Very strange. They're getting weirder as we go on. 1 and 4, and then you could just do a little tail for 2, because 2 times 2. It's got 3 factors, so it's not prime. 5, draw him in here. Always take the time to draw a smiley face. 1 times 5. 2's not going to do it, 3's not going to do it, and 4's not going to do it, so we know that that is a prime. And then we should know that 6 isn't a prime, but by this point we're just enjoying drawing factor bugs so much that we're going to do some more. 1 times 6, 2 times 3. That's everything. It's got 4 factors, so it is not prime. We have our little smiling happy army of factor bugs there. So we completed this by not getting drawn in by what our options are already, but by doing the math ourselves and then filling in the answers afterwards, which I would really recommend you do. Give yourself 2 marks. Well done me. And move on. So the top guidance, use a factor bug. Honestly, once we start getting into lists of things, it's where we're going to miss information. If you're trying to write out all the factors of 24, maybe you can write them all in a list separated by a comma, but actually I think visually factor bugs really do help. You're never too old for a factor bug, and the marker's just going to love to see a factor bug anyway, aren't they? Remember that prime numbers only have 2 factors. So if you end up doing a factor bug and it has 2 legs, 1 and the number itself, you know that number's prime. That's not important on its own, but if you really love doing factor bugs and you just get it, you can use that to check whether a number is prime if you're not initially sure. And always learn your times tables. The knowledge of factors is mostly the knowledge of times tables. If you have them, you're going to be able to click in really quickly. Okay, I'm doing factors of 24. Well, I know that's going to be my 2s. Oh, I know that 3 times 8. So learn your times tables, put time into that, because it sorts everything out for you. I've spelled something incorrect there. And hopefully that's going to help you when it comes to factors. It's not a huge area of maths. It's not going to be, you're not going to win or lose or pass or fail probably on a factors question, but actually it works behind the scenes quite a lot. If you understand factors, you understand multiplying, and you probably understand your times tables as well. So worth knowing, and please show me your factor bugs whenever you can. I'm always up to seeing factor bugs. Make sure you draw a smile on their little faces as well. See you again for another revision video very soon. Ciao.